grade 12. So let's continue this discussion about survey research. And I do apologize that we don't have the online class today. However, this video will help you to understand more what's all about survey research. Once again, I'm Miss Jonalyn Hugo, your practical research too. So, we have from the topic about planning a survey research. But before that, let's have a short recap what is survey research. Once again, when we say survey research, we are solving the current issues or current problem in the community, and we are doing this to find solution to the existing problem. So these surveys help us to understand more how to give solution to the existing problem. Now, what are the plans that we need to have in a survey research? First, we should have the explanation objectives clearly, or we should explain our objectives clearly. As a researcher, it is very important that you know your role, you know the objectives of your study. You are the one who are searching for the answer. Your objective should be clear, and of course, you know what you want to find out. So, as a researcher, objective should be clear. Second, formulation of research questions or hypotheses to predict relationship of variables. Since we are in quantitative research, we do have our hypothesis, and of course, we are predicting the relationship between our variables. So, when we are formulating our research question, we are also considering the factors of the variable and the relationship. So, when we are formulating, we need to consider those variables. Third, in our plan, we should have our determination of the exact kind of data referred to by the hypothesis or research question. So you should have your determination of what kind of data you should have. You should be directed to the data or the variables that you needed in your study. So like for example, you want to find out the performance of grade 12 students. So your respondent should be the grade 12 student because you want to find out or you give solution about their performance. Maybe you want to have the comparison between their performance in grade 11, or maybe you have a comparison in one section or maybe in one strand to your current strand. So you should know or you should have your determination of what kind of data you needed in your research paper. Fourth, the assurance of the population or group of people to which the findings will be applied. So you need to be sure about your respondents. The respondent should be clear to you as a researcher. You should be directed to whom or to the people that you want in your research paper. Remember, as a researcher, you should see all these things. You should view these things. Sino ba ang respondents ko? Why I chose them as my respondents? Bakit sila yung dapat kong pag-surveyan? So the assurance about the population. It's very difficult to have a survey if you don't know the people or the respondents in your research paper. So it should be an assurance about the population. Fifth, finalization of the sampling method for selecting the participants. In this case, it should be finalized what kind of method you're going to use in getting your participants. Normally, we are using the zero point 0.5 or we have the 5% error, marginal error in our population wherein we do expect that there is a possibility wherein an error within in our respondents. It's just saying that not all of them will answer your survey seriously. We cannot say that all of them are exactly serious while taking their survey. So that's why we should finalize what method in getting our participants or respondents. 6. Identification of method or instrument in collecting data. That is whether it is questionnaire on paper, through phone, via computer, or face to face. So in having our survey, there's a different way of giving it. Maybe, like for example, nowadays since we are under the pandemic, we use the Google form to get the surveys. That's why when you answer the survey about vaccination card, you're just going to fill up the form about that that survey, diba? So through phone, you can also gather the information through phone. Maybe you just call one by one for an interview. And of course, in our traditional way, we have the face to face wherein you go in a certain place or location and then you give your survey questionnaire to the people or to the population that you want to ask. So you need to identify what kind of method or instrument that you'll be needing in collecting your data. So those are the things that you need to be in mind in planning a survey question. So now, what are the strengths of the survey research? First strength of this is versatility. It tackles any issue affecting society. One of the strengths of a survey, it gives solution to a present problem or present issue. The goal of the research or the survey is to find out the solution. That's why it affects the society. Of course, you will not going to take your survey if you don't have any issues. And the most or the nearest to you is your community, your neighborhood, or maybe in your barangay, or maybe medyo known ka sa city, di ba? Or medyo may kakilala ka sa city mo. And then that's the time you are tackling the issues in your municipality. Second strength of survey research is efficiency. When we say efficiency, it is not costly in terms of money and time, assuming there is excellent communication or postal system. When we say efficient, the survey research is not using too much money and time while giving it. So in traditional way, in having a survey, you need to go in certain location, wait for the respondents, but nowadays it's very easy to have a survey. Not costly in terms of money because you're just going to make your survey question in the Google form and then you're just going to send it to the respondents in of your research paper. Diba? And also time. You're just going to wait for them to respond. Unlike in traditional way, you need to value the time and you need to wait for your respondents. In terms of location, in terms of money when the questionnaire needed to be printed. So nowadays we're not using that kind of surveying. So let's have the third strand of survey research, and that's what we call generality. It can get a good representation or sample of a large group of people. When we say generality, your respondents are in just a certain or there's a common ground between your respondents. Like for example, you want to survey in grade 12 student only for the ABM. You are generalizing their strand. So you are just choosing the ABM. So other respondent will be excluded in your study and you are generalizing all the ABM students. So to have a good representation and also to have the common ground because they have this maybe they have the same experience but then we cannot say that they all have the same. Fourth one our fourth strand of survey research, we have confidentiality. When we say confidentiality, it is capable of safeguarding the privacy or anonymity of the respondents. There are some topics that what we call confidential. Like for example, if your research tackles about sexually transmitted disease, that's why we are not allowing the respondents to place their name in our survey questionnaire. In their survey. That's why always remember name is not a requirement in a survey. Like for example, like what I said, if the topic is about sexually transmitted disease and then that is one confidential information from your friend or maybe from your family. You need to safeguard, you need to have the confidential wherein you need to be is needed to be clear to you as a researcher that you should not disclose those information to other people. Let's say the respondent is your best friend. Let's say the respondent is your best friend and then you mention it to other group of people or co-workers. What do you think he or she will feel about you? She or he trusted you in that information. So you are responsible for safeguarding and to retain the anonymous or being anonymous of your respondent. Always remember that name is not included in your survey, in all survey that we have. Also have here the ethical principles and rules in survey research. First, we should respect whatever decision a person has about their research work, for his participation in your study comes solely from his or her own decision making powers. We cannot control them if they say that they don't like to wear face masks. We cannot push them to choose what answer in the survey because we need to respect their decisions. We need to respect their opinions. Like what I've said to you last Monday that your opinions matter. And as a researcher, we should respect their decision because they allow us, they trust us about those opinions. As a researcher, we should let them to voice out their ideas and thoughts about a certain topic. Because if we're going to manipulate the result of our research, it is not helpful and we are not solving the issue. We are not helping to find the answer. We're just making it worse. So that's why we should respect every decision of our respondents. Second, make sure that your study will be instrumental in elevating the living condition of people around you or in bringing about world progress. We make assurance that the study is important in the community. Because if that is a worthless study, then why you should have that kind of research? That's why we always say that the research should be updated, should be on trend, because we are solving the problem for the maybe for the progress in our community and for the current living condition of the people around you or in your community. You find out that there is a shortage in purified water in your area. What will you do? You will make a survey like what have you feel what have you feel when you drink water after an hour or what is your observation? Is there any effects of water inside your body? Have you ever um, stomach having a stomach ache after drinking a water? So if you find a problem in your community, that's why we have a survey research to find solution in a living condition to make the life of people easier. We have the third one ethical principle is to conduct your research work in a way that the respondents will be safe from any injury or damage that may arise from their physical and emotional involvement in the study. So, if I'm going to let you make your IMRAD format or in your research paper, you are not allowed to have your face-to-face method in surveying because we are still in pandemic. Then we should ensure the health of our respondents and also your health as a researcher. Their emotional involvement, that's why we are choosing the right word. That's why you cannot just make a question and give it to your respondents. That's why you need to have or make your questions and then you need to have a three validations from the research teacher. That's why. Also have here the practice of honesty and truthfulness in reporting about the results of your study. Like what I said, you should not manipulate the answer of your respondents. If you will be having an honesty and truthfulness in your study, it may help the research become valid. You are helping to find the solution in the issues. You can help to give direct informations. You can give the parallel information that is suited to the topic that you have. And if if your expectation doesn't meet the result, that's why you have the RRL to support those information. That's the use of RRL. In your findings, if you have the hypothesis like there's a connection between the academic performance and the study habits, then if in the result hindi ganun yung lumabas, then you need to find out the reason in your RRL. From your RRL, I mean. From your RRL, you can validate or you can support the issues or you can support the ideas or findings. Number 5, we should accept the reality that the nature, kind, and extent of responses to your questions depends solely on the dispositions of the respondents. We need to accept the differences of our respondents. Maybe yung isang respondent sa atin, okay lang kahit pumasok siya ng hindi naka-uniform. Pwede yung isang respondent, kailangan naka-uniform. And that is their dispositions. That is their thoughts and ideas. And we should accept that we have differences. Also, the respondents had their differences. The way they think, the nature, the kind, their background. So their answer depends on the experience that they have, to the experience that they encounter. So that's why, as a researcher, we should accept the reality. 6. Decide properly information should go on public or secret. Like what I've said a while ago. If that is confidential, are you going to use or show it on the public? Or not totally on the secrets, maybe on the private institutions. Let's go back to the topic we're in. It's about sexually transmitted disease. If you're studying that kind of research, maybe your research paper is worth it or it is helpful for the doctors to find solutions. It will be helpful to the nurses, to the medicine group, right? In order to find out ilang percent na ba ang merong STD and how is it still growing or it will be lessened, di ba? So you need to decide properly which information should go on public or secret. Number 7, stick to your promise of safeguarding the secrecy of some information you obtain from the respondents. You should maintain the trust, in short. You ask them for their participation in the survey, then as a researcher, you need to keep your promise that those information is only for the research purposes and no other purpose, diba? And aside from that, that's why you need to participate in a survey. In a survey, let's say there's a people or a person that is conducting his or her survey. She or he chose you to be the respondents because not because you are his or her friend, but because the variable or the character of the respondent shows to you, or you are showing that kind of character. Maybe ang kailangan niya is grade 12 ABM studying at Plaridel campus. That's why he or she chose you. And as a researcher, we need to keep our promise and we need to maintain the trust that we get from those respondents. So those are the ethical principles and rules in survey research. Let's have the survey questions. We have the closed-ended questions includes predefined list of answers options. Open-ended questions ask the respondents to provide an answer in their own words. The difference between the two, the closed-ended question, it means that there's an option between the questions. When we say open-ended question, the question is depends upon the opinions or ideas, thoughts of the respondents. There is no option, but then, based on their thoughts or pananaw, they can answer in the they can answer the open-ended question. In survey question, we have different types. We have the multiple choice, we have rating scale question, the most common, Likert scale question, matrix question, drop down question, open-ended question like what I've said a while ago, demographic question, the ranking question, common, image choice questions, click map questions, file upload question, slider question, and benchmarkable questions. So those are just the common survey questions that we have. And I just want to explain the standardized and the researcher made questionnaire. So when we say standardized, maybe the topic that you have, the current topic that you have is already or there's already an RRL. Then you can ask for approval or permission for the owner of that questionnaires in order to use it again in your survey in your research paper. You just need to ask approval if you have the standardized. But always check if you will be having the same thoughts or you will be having the similar topic in the survey. When we have the researcher meet, it only means that you need to make your own research question or you need to make the survey questionnaire. What I mean is the survey questionnaires. And on that point, you need to have or you need to have 3 validations from your research teachers. So you should validate first your questionnaires before you can produce it to your respondents. So those are the important things that you need to understand in survey research. If you have any problem questions about it, don't forget to just place it in our place it in our group chat, and or maybe you can PM or have a personal message to me so I can answer your question. So for activity 1, the submission will be on November 14, 2022. That will be 11:15 p.m. And the directions for this one, it is individual work, so you need to do it alone. You just need to answer the following question intelligently. So it is based on your own opinion or own ideas. So each question you will be having 5 points, and if your answer is too far from the question, I'm just going to give 3 points. So just the option for scoring is 3 or 5. So make sure you do it intelligently. It's just out of 25 items, you just need to answer it based on how you understand the survey research. You can have or browse the internet for the informations, or maybe you can have the Google for additional information or additional thoughts or ideas regarding this topic. So I think that's it for this topic. I do hope you will be having a great day. Goodbye, grade 12. Have a blessed